Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever, taking valuable time out of watching the World Cup to bring you this cast. Don't know why you'd watch it instead of the World Cup, but maybe you're from some part of the world that does not understand the beauty of football. Obfuscation is Blodir, and he has Aeon. I think these guys had to rehost this game several times for whatever reason. On the bottom we have Blast Shield, and he's playing Seraphim, so both players have T1 hover on their side. And the map is Open Waters V2. Strange map. Don't stand in the water, you'll get shot by frigates. It's your ACU. Yes, this is the quarterfinal of the winners bracket of the Galaxy Cup qualifier number 2. Very complicated sentence there, a lot of information. Pause it, rewind, play it back till you get it all. Unless I left some out, and that's annoying. Blast Shield has his Hydro delayed because there's some reclaim on the Hydro. Shout out to all map makers who remove resources from the starting area and from hydrocarbons. The rest of you who don't, well, get with it. Start learning. Blast Shield is gonna rush an air factory. Got an air factory queued for Blodir after 3 pigeons on the hydrocarbon. So on this map, you see you have 2 large expansions on the side, so you gotta get one of those for sure. Otherwise you are fucked. And then in the middle we have 6 mexes, which are quite easy to kill, quite easy to raid, hard to hold on to, but nonetheless you gotta fight for them. That's 6 mexes. So we're gonna see Navy. We might see contested islands. And ooh, Blast Shield is going straight for a transport. Let's see how many pigeons he made here. So because, yeah, let's see, 4 pigeons. And he's not going to stall here, probably. Going to get closer. That looks like a very nice build, actually. Very simple. You know, you get some pigeons. Gets 4 of them. Expands not too quickly. These mexes would hurt you power-wise when you're making your transport. Also, the engineers assisting there. Slower expansion. Engineering going to mid here. And he gets transport away. And ooh. Yeah, I like this idea of the land scout. Or the hover scout. Interesting it's called a T1 land scout when it's definitely not just for land. But actually maybe that's a fat... No, it's not a FAF change to make them hover. Definitely not. That would be too much. But yeah, the scout's not really in the best place. Should be down further so you can see the transport. But always nice. People don't use these hover scouts. They're so powerful, so useful to have. So the drop gets away, no problem. But Blodir's instead been going for inties. And I'm actually surprised he was too slow. I think actually here's the problem. He went for 3 pigeons. Maybe he didn't need to make 3 because he wasn't going to rush transport. So maybe less pigeons, faster air factory, faster first intie would have been better for him. So you can definitely get across the map fast enough to catch that first transport. But he did get across and kill the bomber, the follow-up bomber from Blast Shield. Maybe that was a mistake to go for a bomber after making a transport. But I guess he wasn't expecting the inties to be rushing across. Blodir generally, I think, would be a bit of a transport rush guy. When you have the option. A lot of times you don't have the option to choose. One is better than the other, but you have the option, I guess. Blodir's the greedy kind. So, Blodir looks like he has total air control. He's dropping a lot later though, so his income will be less. And actually, Blast Shield has a bit more reclaim, about 300 more reclaim. So a bit more careful. You see, there's all these rocks here. If you look at Blodir, he hasn't grabbed any of these in his opening build art. It's sloppy, maybe. We did see Zooey attempt to do some raiding, a very early Zooey. Actually did like a lot of damage. Look at that. Did about almost 1.5k there, and a bit more, and a bit more again. We did like 2,000 damage, didn't kill anything though. Gotta love them arties. So we have sub from Blodir first. Frigga from Blast Shield. Hard countered. Completely hard countered. Now, unfortunately, you can't come in and kill this engineer because it is hovering, so torpedoes can do nothing to harm this little gentleman. Nice scout in the base from Blast Shield. And Blodir looks to be having power problems, judging by the paused air. And actually, Blodir dropping here. He has 2 factories going up very quickly. Meanwhile, tanks from Blast Shield are quite slow. Well, they're not slow, they're second fastest tank, but he hasn't made them very quickly. Blodir's in mid, gonna take some mexes, but Blast Shield's already hanging on to 4 of them. Another one here for a while. That's good from him, and Blast Shield also walking his ACU. To this expansion, there's nothing to defend. 2 factories can just be reclaimed, and the engineers are dying by accident. Not on accident, but by accident. And that's just attacking mexes, okay. But still, there should be no problem. The ACU can come in here, reclaim this, capture this, do whatever. And Blodir's busy expanding on this side rather than building tanks and PD and more factories. A lot of assist on the naval factory for Blodir. And still a Paul's air factory. Now, air can be very dangerous on this map. Especially in the scenario we've just entered, which is 2 split expansions. Blodir's ACU in mid is not effective, really. I mean, the engineers just that walked and took the mexes have achieved a lot more mass-wise than Blodir's ACU. And Blodir getting a nice base up here, but the one he's dropped for himself already is looking empty. And Blast Shield is going to be able to fight for this. But the only thing that really would have stopped this ACU would be he would have needed some tanks and also PD. Maybe a PD behind a factory to block damage would be nice. Coupled with some tanks, maybe some arties so he can't stand still. But Blast Shield instead, he just walks there. There's nothing to stop him. And now Blodir has to fight with Aurora on this side. Blast Shield has time to react now. He's actually building power here, interestingly. And the air game looks pretty firmly in Blast Shield's hands. Well, yeah, he certainly has more. And that can be spell disaster for these Aurora over here. So maybe we'll see just a few bombers come over here, and then Blast Shield can have be in the ascendancy on both sides. In terms of the Navy, Blast Shield gone heavy into subs now. After Blodir opened with the sub, now we've gone heavy into subs. These Seraphim subs, they have the lowest HP, but they have torpedo defense every 5 seconds. I actually saw a game where I think Thomas Hyatt used a lot of the Seraphim T1 subs against UEF Destroyer. It was very cool. Maybe I'll cast it. I think it was on Osiris. That was a strange game. So Blast Shield maybe should not be chilling here with his ACU, should be walking towards the rest of Blodir's base quite quickly, but he's taking a bit of a piss break. He just wants to just do what his name suggests. And still, Blodir's ACU is just sort of walking around in mid, and I don't think it's good at all. I think if you want to be in mid, you want to take mid, you should build a factory up here where it can't be killed by frigates and stuff, so you can actually get some land units, and then you can actually control the middle. Instead, he's actually going to just spam some tanks to middle from back here, which is another good option, but maybe a bit slightly less secure. And the bombers are coming in for these Aurora. These Aurora are going to disappear so fast, man. Oh, they're dropping over the mountain. Oh my god, it lands perfectly by accident. 7 kills, 11 kills. That looks very bad. And over here, this PD is undefended, and so it goes down to a couple of Zuis. Blodir under pressure now. And he's sending in his air. Oh, he's actually already got out of fuel inties. That is very bad for him. You can see Blast Shield has not been using them, not been moving them around much, so they all have plenty of fuel, a couple of minutes each, and even more. Have a transport in the base. When you have a transport and you have some Zuis hanging around on this island, then got a recipe for a tasty drop, perhaps. Maybe some Zuis here, kill some factories. Zuis on the main island, of course. Holy damn, it's T2 Navy. T2 Navy when both expansions are contested. Now that's an interesting decision. So, can T2 Navy win either of these expansions? Can it win the game? Well, he's got 4 subs coming after him and 2 frigates. Has to pull back his 5 frigates. He does not have a torpedo defense. I think it's quite bad actually to not have a torpedo defense when you know there's so many subs. Torpedo defense just owns them completely. Stops them doing anything. But now these subs can sit here forever. Well, until this Destro comes out. They can even do some damage to the Destro. They will all go down though. And that would be quite expensive when they do go down. But look, they're killing frigs off. Aeon Destros have, Aeon frigates have torp defense. It is mostly a relevant feature. Unfortunately for them, Blast Shield completely wins air. And actually a T2 sub has already gone out, so the first T2 unit is already out. It's a T2 sub, and now the Destro comes out. T2 sub taking some damage. With T2 subs versus T1 subs, you've got to be using the range of the T2 submarine. It has much more range, and if you just run into the middle of a group of T1 subs, you will take damage. As we saw here, it lost half its health. And we do see the Zuis get dropped, and there's actually P-gens here for them to kill. And that's quite valuable to be losing that. It's 4 P-gens down. You might see a few more. On this left side, most of the fighting happening here, and it's not going in the favor of Blodir. It has to be said. It looks good for Blast Shield. I mean, just Zuis versus Aurora. Zuis are just so damn good. They're so damn good. I think you really gotta bomb the shit out of them. Like, treat them like Aurora. Just bomb the shit out of them. Because fighting them, I don't know, they are the best T1 unit. Just hands down, greatest T1 unit around. We have a couple of T2 Mexes for both players. And the left side looks, well, it's not equal. It's definitely better for Blast Shield down there. And on the right, Blast Shield has ACU. Where is Blodir's ACU? He's here. Why? Blodir, you just waste your damn time. And I mean, he could potentially walk across here. I mean, he has some navy. Actually, he's losing his navy here, losing his frigates anyway. But he has a Destro a sub. Oh, he has more frigates here, so he definitely has naval control. As Blast Shield now responds with his own T2 Navy. But Blodir could come across here, get rid of these factories that would at least end the production. Leave Blast Shield with just these few units. But they're only getting another factory up now. Holy damn. So this looks dangerous for Blodir. Let's see. No assist on the T2 naval factory. And actually a cruiser comes out. Do not want to have to make a cruiser in 1v1 as Aeon. Don't want to have to do that. So all it can do is shoot air units. It has, well, has a couple of guns on it, which are basically like frigates. But that is not very strong at all. And Blast Shield is running over this now. The PDs have died. There's an ACU supported by tanks, supported by Zuis. Celine's in there to give radar. It's dead. It's fucked. And the bottom side, Blodir is not making progress. And now we have T2 Navy versus T2 Navy. And Blast Shield's about to get some reclaim here as well. And secure all these mexes. He's immediately going to be grabbing what's left here. And then he has leftover tanks. The Zuis can be used to raid. And damn, I played Blast Shield there. I think he may have been the game-winning moment. So right now, if you're Blodir, okay, 6 mexes in the mid. That's really nice. That makes up for this somewhat, but only for now until he's established here. Blodir is actually walking to here. I think that's a mistake. I think maybe he was already walking here to try and save this. And now it's died in transit. This was the place. And he is making progress. It looks like, but not huge progress. There's significant production. There's bombers coming in. Air looks bad as fuck for... Oh no, where's the destroyer? Was that the destroyer just dying there? Oh, okay. Well, that's Blast Shield's dead destroyer, and now Blodir's dead destroyer. Meanwhile, what Blodir has to replace his destroyer is not one of his own destroyers. It's a cruiser. He has a T2 sub as well. T2 subs certainly can do a lot of great work versus Destros, but they have no capability of really doing damage. They can only perform that anti-navy role, unlike the Aeon Destroyer, which can kill all of this stuff, for example, and do a lot of damage on the land. So now we got to see, what does Blodir have? I mean, if he doesn't win the bottom, I mean, he has no chance, really. Now, he is probably trying to get back into the air game, I guess. You can see a fair bit of assists. He has a lot of mass in the bank, so... And there's actually a decent amount of reclaim he could be grabbing. Both players may be a bit... well, actually, you can see Blast Shield is going to work on this already. As engineers in the bait, sucking up that mass. Blodir doing a good job over here getting that, but look at this very good defensive position. You can see there's quite a tight choke, and Blast Shield can actually just put his tanks here. This would be the best place, just right behind the factories. He can put his Zuis back here, and if the Aurora want to move in, they're gonna have to shoot through the factory. And the factory's going to tank a lot of damage. It's just like having a shield, really. Just imagine you have a shields on T1. That's what fighting with T1 factories around is like. So I think people could be a bit creative with factories. Place them really right in the fucking... If you're really defending it somewhere, just put the factory like right here in the choke point. And just really screw with your opponent. Even though factories have less HP than they used to, it's decent amount. I mean, 3,500 health, 240 mass, and it's such a large thing. That's pretty good. So Blodir really pushing here, and he's starting T2 air. Looks like he's pushing well here, and he is ready to grab the reclaim in response, but he gets too close, and then the bombers drop. There's always going to be a bomber or two hitting here to try and fuck with him and stop the push from fully working. And this does not look like it's going to die. He has build power here to throw up a PD if needed. There's not that many tanks in support, and it's all Aurora slowly moving across. So I think really the fight is no longer here. It's in the Navy. All the mass is going into the Navy and the air. This land battle is really just going to continue on as is. 5 factories versus a few less. Actually, Blast Shield going for T2 land. Interesting. Guess he doesn't trust that he can hold this. Although I think he could hold this just with T1 land, Zui's, factories, some PD. He would be fine. Actually, T2 land here just finished. A T2 PD will surely just stop anything that Blodir wants to do here. And we have T2 on the commander, and now transport's being used so close to the island here that difficult. Blodir would have to. Well, I guess he could leave some like 10 inties here. That would stop drops. And now we have tanks dropped. It looks like we had maybe Zui's before that. Well, we did have Zui's dropped here before. Now we have tanks. This one failed, but this one is landing, and there's T2 mechs under fire. And Blodir enlists the help of his ACU, but this PD is fucked anyway. It's gonna go down now. There it goes. Blodir looking like he has a very nice air force though. Swifties in there. So we'll have to see what happens with when's the air fight gonna come. Well, where's the T2 air? Here it is. Torpedo bombers. So yeah, it's about the Navy right now. It's all about the Navy. He's moving in a bit too close, moving into range of the destroyers. So with the Aeon destroyer, it's quite a strange unit. It has that massive cannon which does 1060 damage, which very often misses. It also has very good torpedoes, and it has a lot of range. So it has more range than the Seraphim. So what you want to do, you want to be at this range, right? This is a range to be at. You're right in the range. The Seraphim Destro can't hit you, and Blast Shield really needs to be moving a lot more here. He just took 3,000 damage to that destroyer. Oh, the cruiser also doing damage. Took out a Destro. That's 500 damage per shot, man. Oh, he took so much damage from the cruiser. Damn. So, yes, you want to be outside the range of the Seraphim, and you want to not get hit by the Seraphim cruiser either. That's one of the things. Navy is a lot of fun in Subcom. More fun. I mean, there's not much Navy that's actually fun in games generally. Oh man, the cruiser. But the thing about Navy, once you get to T2 Navy, there's a lot of micro involved because these units are just over 2,000 mass each, and the way they work, they're not. I mean, the Seraphim is a beam weapon, so that's not going to miss unless you're turning away and the beam can't follow. But it is a lot about micro. Once you get to T2 Navy, you can get a huge amount of value out of units if you use them correctly. Man, that's one of the reasons why Navy is so much fun too. These Destros just go down at the same time. They're both so low. And now the cruiser's gone down, and Seraphim Destros are just winning. Oh man. That is not good. Blodir, I think, is probably going to throw in the towel now. That is his entire Navy wiped on Blast Shield's doorstep. All this reclaim is his. He already has a T2 engineer reclaiming it. And on the left side, 6 Ilchevo just gonna run through this army like it's not there, supported by a flak. Zui's very nice force here. And Blast Shield has rushed T2 on his commander to get, well, not rushed, but he's got T2 on his commander in this expansion. Thrown up a good old TML, and the Naval HQ goes down, and it's a comprehensive victory at the end. I'm sure we'll see Blodir throwing the towel now in just a moment. Yeah, look at that for a finish. It runs through the left, TMLs the base from the right, and wins the naval battle and the air battle. So at the end, Blast Shield took every advantage. An important thing to do to ensure you don't throw away a game. Take every advantage. Well played, Blast Shield. I think really decisive moment was Blast Shield using his ACU on the top here. I think Bloodier did not use his ACU correctly, to be honest. In mid, he could have walked across here. This would have been nice because there's nothing here to defend. He could have killed all the production. That would have, and then left, gone into the water. Would have at least slowed Blast Shield down a lot, and Bloodier would need less production. But yeah, overall, Blast Shield won his expansion. Bloodier was still fighting over his. Couldn't make up the ground. Bombers stopped him. T1 land stopped him. And at the end, well, the naval fight, I think it wasn't great micro. Another thing about Aeon Destra is if you get really close to your opponent's Destras, you will not miss with that cannon, and you'll be putting out all of your torpedo DPS. So that's another way to use them. You can use them at range. They're gonna miss though if your opponent is paying attention. If your opponent doesn't pay attention, they're disgustingly good. Amazing stats on them. Huge damage, great health. But yeah, if you get right up close and personal, they're not going to miss. That's another way. If you want to get all the DPS out of them, that's one way to do it. So, thanks for watching. This has been the quarterfinal. Probably cast more games from this qualifier. Tournament games always go down well. So, nice to see Bloodier and Blast Shield playing. You don't see them play too often. And well played Blast Shield. Bit of an upset for sure. Bloodier certainly will be the favored player between them. And yeah, well done Blast Shield. GG, thanks for watching. Hope you tune in for the next one.